Yeah, hello anyone, any person, anywho, y'all good. And Pi is so proud of that. Some of the good Thai gods, they trapped the double wanda wielder and some of those monsters in a private space station up there. And Pais in 2008, yeah, he was incredible. Yeah, he is Indochine, he is Indo-Asian, Asian war god. He cut up, had it, well, not had it, but double wanda wielder, yep, 4 times real, yep, 2008, yep, legendary, yep. They trapped the monster, them trapped the monster up there in the Thai sector, yep, Thai space station country, that's real. And Pi, when you verse it, you match it every 18 minutes, Pi, yep. Your speed and spinal cord DNA last for about 80 to 70 days, yep, the deck's not wear out. He supercharges the throat and absorbs new speed, Pi, and then he flies off. Your bot lands about 60 billion hits every 4 trillion cuts. Paisan, every collision, 4 trillion cuts. The double wanda wielder dude eye is accurate. It's a region so not accurate. It consumes human god souls and it uses its DNA to region the spinal cord. And then right there, it is invincible for about 2 million years, that's true. That wasn't even as evil as what Pi fought. The Rain War gods, yep, Five-Sided Star used to deal with those monsters, yep, the Grandpa region, 9 million years, accurate. That motherfucker, Pi did about 40 trillion cuts on him, accurate. I was 70 trillion cuts. Allah was a weakling, 900 trillion times 6,000 cuts per second. Vamon Paisan nailed them, yeah, per collision. That's true. Paisan? Per second, yeah. The dumbass doubting you was told to go home. Yeah, go home immediately. That's true. Pi is four-sided star. Yep, Aztec god equivalent. That's true. The bone gods from Aztec and Pi. You match, but 9 hours of you hating your people for not knowing. Pi is equivalent. Yeah, equivalent. That's true.
Yep, and then right there, Pi lied, Pi death from Egypt.
That's true. That's true. Pi robbed Egyptians, and then Pi abstracted the supercharger, from the spinal cord and intestine DNA. That's correct. It was 2 hours, Pi. You matched, but liars are you. After using it, you're only stable for 3 to 4 days. That's true. Yep. The throat also, explodes. That's true. Yep. There's rips in the throat. That's true. And Pi's out of the hat in science god mode. Pi is in. 2 hours of you fighting it, your bot landed about 60 to 80 billion cuts, right afterwards, and it lasted about 80 days, 80 to 90 days, and then it is way damaged, God, by accurate.
Yeah, right afterwards, yeah, you're out of there 4 hours.
That's 100% law, yeah. The space station has been quarantined as a big prison, that's true. Pies, and you did it. 2 hours of people laughing with you. Had it was much more mature, yeah. Ended up right there on Earth melting. Pi, that's true. Pi released the peerless bomb on Earth, the electricity virus, right? That's true. It melts any organic human god DNA. And only knights are there, and then they leave. And Pi, you see what happened? 2 hours of them dying, and then he shouted your name, always 100% is the good idea. And then you know what happened? Pi figured out the other science gods are pretty nice. Yeah, y'all good. And then Pi looked, and because isn't there, y'all good. And truth be told, had it is the real organic god like Pi did, why would you embarrass yourself? Yeah, you just die at Five-Sided Stars organically. Yeah, him not region. That's true. That's true. There are dull gods. They knew what Pi was talking about. And then he laughed. I was is the science. Yeah, I was is the science. I murdered him. He is 70 trillion cuts per collision. Pi, yeah. Rain is probably the real because that's true. That's true. Him was 40 trillion cuts per second. Paiusen, very graphic. Your decks, match, but your son lasts about 400 days, yet his spinal cord is not damaged by Astro. You went from human to God mode again, and your spinal cord dex only lasts about 80 days by app before the opponent god, gains a new dex of speed, and then it flies towards you again. That's true, that's true. It's like a race. Hey, Baisit, 2 hours of you absorbing from the throat, you notice the difference but 9 hours of you screaming because had it isn't a dad yet. Yeah, y'all good. Had it dies fair, yeah, it comes down to melt. Five-sided star in that region dies within 8 months.
was not fun yet. 4 million years before it dies.
Pi, that's true.
Yeah, them's another monster. Pi fought and seal. Hey, Pi. The best monster is the Iranian. 9 million years accurate. And that one scared the shit out of you, Pi. He knew exactly what you was doing.
Pi, yeah, that's correct. Y'all good.
He says, Pai said, when you're standing still, bending with your feet gliding left and right to match the decks, 2 hours you saw him punched you and he knew it. You is the four-sided star God Vaj equivalent. And right there, Pai, it was graphic news for you. Science smashed you and saved your butt.
Too, yeah, normally, yes, dude.
And then in the end, the norm is let the demon parent serve Pi. Pi built real legit space stations and then go live with it.
Yeah, normal.
And then you cleared your air status.
Yeah, that's true.
And then right there, your reputation's been cleared. Name's been cleared. The name is cleared afterwards, but very graphic Pi. You fought off 2 Egyptians and you murdered one of them. The other father murdered it. Yep.
Always 100% do right on, righteous father. Yeah, normally, yes, dude. Righteous white God, yes, dude.
And he's righteous, he's good, yes, dude. The bad side is he is because
because it's still alive and normal, yes, dude, accurate.
Because in science, when you run into the science time, you nodded. Those are powerful, Pi, but because and you're the liar, because you are full God.
Full God, that's correct.
And you know what he said, Pi? Never tell the region nut he was a fool.
That's correct.
He is pretty deadly. And Pi, you said, you know what Chinese said to you? You, Pi, gold God, when they cut you up, bam, you pop back out every 20 to 50 to 2 hours, you pop back out, and then you fight again, you bend, and eventually your molecules match the speed, you shout, boom, and then your decks match. But 9 hours, Pi, 4 fucking days of fighting you, and he quit.
Yeah, he quit.
He says, we have never seen Paiusan so evil. Paiusan, you know what happened between you and China? You murdered them.
Yeah, Pi murdered them.
That's true. Pi not lie to you. 2052, that is when another white god comes down, and then Pi and he equips the green sword, and then Pi, white.
Yeah, the white sword
is used, and then Pi gut Chinese with him.
That's true.
That's true. China is ended that way. Yep. What you call modern Chinese is way Chinese. That's true. That's true. The others are innocent. Mongolian, Tibet, innocent. Jinsi, innocent. Fujian, innocent. Chindu, innocent. And the Hmong's innocent, but I told you, we have to clear the status. Those are big pirate thieves that went into Thai dragon sector, and them are not hygienic human gods. Them are poor, food. And then them are thieves. Pirates, and right afterwards you won Pi.
Yeah, you won Pi.
2 hours of you gutting them. Yep, them dies. All your family's been told. Yeah, get to Thailand, get to Thailand, get to Singapore. Yeah, Yoku, Malay. Because right afterwards, yeah, Pi did another event in Malaysia too.
That's true.
Yeah, Pi deleted them too. Them have celestial court charges.
That's true.
That's true. And later on, Pi, it was 2 hours. Yeah, jab 16.
Yeah, jab 16.
Yeah, rest in peace, little thief.
Korea pass, Korean most hygienic.
Yeah, most lucky. Yeah, most lucky. Pi not dare swing the sword towards them. Them are poor, and then them are reasonable. Them are like Canada.
That's true.
America's more like Pi. That's true. That's true. 2 fucking hours of people weeping. And Paisan, it was you in Middle Eastern fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
Middle East, Pi not say, yep. Because right there, lots are deleted like Chinese. That's true. But status are cleared. And then the real parents, the real nation up there, they're in population.
Yeah, them not die.
Yeah, them not die, that's true. And that's why people made fun of you, Pi. It was 9 hours of him crying on the internet. He says, Pi, you said, you and the true holy war gods, you have done that, and then 2 hours after Paisan evacuation of 4,000 successful, the peerless bomb nano is released.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. And then that is what deleted had in African Sun.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, African Sun God only lasted 7 hours. It melted away. Had it lasted 28 minutes. Any other nut, pretty much gone within a few hours.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. If Paisan, you know what happened? The best fight scene in the Thai sector, they trapped the double wand of Wilderin. Egyptian African gods are there too. Yep, you murdered them. It was heroic by.
Yep, it was heroic. You murdered all 4 trillion, and then he spins around and he cuts you up, and then you cut him, and in 4 seconds he screams, and then he knew it is Paisa.
Yeah, Paisa Va, yeah, the four-sided star equivalent God Va. Right there, like circle Va accurate. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Yep, in 9 hours, the Indonesian god that's been bending and fighting, it takes 3 years for him to match, but he only lands maybe 1 or 2 cuts and he's out of there.
Yeah, he's out of there, that's true.
Yep, because he's not fast.
Yeah, he's not fast.
He doesn't gravitational puncture.
Yeah, puncture, cut, slash, accurate.
And Bayusin is the one that cuts and does a micro cut. Yep. Horizontal. Yep, horizontal.
Yeah.
Vertical.
Yeah, vertical, accurate.
Yep, him does a horizontal cut. And then that's fine. Nose are here.
Accurate. Pi do a vertical.
Yeah, vertical.
Yep. Go horizontal.
Yeah, horizontal.
Yep. Vertical, yo.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep. And then they laughed. They wrote, you did a super multi-cut. And then it was there, they made fun of you. They wrote, how the fuck can you fight like that? Civil War guy.
Accurate.
You gain all the foresight of our ancestors on Steve. And by you said your turbo DNA center.
That's correct. That's correct.
Every year you go harvest African and you consume spinal cord performs the same. And then 2 hours, similar, that's similar horsepower. And then 2 hours you match, rendering you match and you again.
Accurate. 100% the Paisa. 4 hours you fighting the double Wanda Wilder. You knew the difference by him. You landed before trillion. And then after damage, yeah, your multi-super cut goes down to 2 trillion. Yeah, that's true. Because Pi's not healthy. But the bots, they always keep maximum 4 trillion. Yeah, 4 trillion cuts, accurate. Same gravitational super strength, accurate. And Paisa, right afterwards, he says, oh my God, Pi's enduring so much pain. That's true. It is also melting from Pi's green ray.
Yep, green ray swords and green ray poison ray. Right there, Pi's glowing green. It's melting, but 9 hours at regioning. Those are nuts. I've never seen them do that accurately. And Paisa, you're only immune a few days. That's true. Pi's only there for a few hours. Pi's out of there.
Yeah, Pi's out of there.
That's true. I have no idea how dragons region with the Cobra, but they do it right, and then they have the poison ray away, but most of the time they go in there and them dies. That's true. Pi's grandma hawk and other hawks went in there, and then Pi, after they fight, they're immune to the ray, but 9 hours of you crying, Pi, because you notice your left arm's melting again.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. And that's when you know it. One of those fucking hawks know your name in God language. That's true. And then right there, it spoke a language that Pi spoke, and it melted Pi's left arm.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Hey, Pi endure.
Yeah, Pi endure. Hey, Pi, you sit 20 hours of you crying, and then you endure. But them are royalty, so that is fair.
That's fair. Them and they are normal.
Because those are Pi's relatives and family too.
That's true.
But Pi will strike the individual hawks that hate Pi.
That's true.
Individually, and right afterwards, Pi, it was graphic. He said, who melted Pi's hand?
Yeah, y'all could.
And it was there, Pi. You're melting for 4 months.
Pi, yeah, that's fine. My resilient DNA and immune chip and goo, kicks in.
Yep. You were resilient for 2 hours and you're out of there.
Normal, 100% synchronized it.
The best fight scene is Allah and you, Pi. You ended him in 19 minutes, Pi.
That's probably true.
That's probably true.
Yep, Allah's nothing new. And then right afterwards, I laughed. I looked at all those kids, and then I let the parents from Israel and Saudi, the demons, are the real parents, and they decide.
That's 100% correct, y'all.
And then later on, they do what the woman is doing, what they will.
Accurate.
But the idea includes nice gets to do anything more odd than that, than your dice.
Accurate.
And it was there. I pointed, those are your white demons, and those are my demons. And then
yeah, that's what you had accurate.
If I use your once they're wealthy, you made demons at least 12 spaces each. And then those collect the children and move them away.
That's correct, 100% was doing. And Paisa, you did it, but it was 9 hours of pain for you. It was so horrifying. The Chinese wrote, Paisa, You match the Indonesian, he was not full of, he been 3 years, he matched the double wanded wielder's old speed, so congratulations, Indo-Chinese, Indonesian, King Cobra isn't full of, and the truth is, his regular Cobra said is accurate. Him match and Pi was way thrilled. Pi match every 18 to 20 minutes, that's true, and then Pi can strike it in hyper collision mode, accurate. And Pi eats him right there. He says, how the fuck can you even match those monsters? Ancient sorcery, that's true. The way he bends molecules, Pi, 3 years, he matched and he engages it. But it was so graphic, Pi, they lost about 14 trillion, so every 3 minutes, Pi.
And then every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, those are wealthy.
Yeah, those are very wealthy cobras that are well bred up there, that's true. Human cobra gods. And Paisa, when you're there, 14 minutes are you terrified. He cut you twice and then you pushed him and said, bro, we is four-headed, y'all could go home, y'all could. And I am the only one with the three-head grandma DNA, that's true. And that's why he left you alone, Pi accurate. And it was you, Pi, an old relative that didn't love them anymore, that's correct, y'all could.
And right there, Pi, you smile. 9 years later, best fight scene between you and him. You pushed him on the shoulder and said, "You not worth fighting. You have no sword. Go heal."
Go heal.
I kept pushing him, and he cut Pi up 4 million times.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's correct. I said, "That's enough. Go." Yep, that's not even anything. You need swords, glowing colors, and right there, the plutonium level went up. That's true. That's true. 2 hours of you crying because you pushed him. Yeah, him went home normal because he didn't need that type of dex from those type of monsters. Very graphic news, Pi. It was him who entered the space station, and then him is arrested by your grandma Hawks. Yep, yep. Yep, knights, and then police basically, and it's different police per royalty, and then him is arrested, and then deported legally. That's true. From that space station because kid, he is not supposed to engage any. He is not a proper war god. He is an elixir nut. That's true. And you get that kind of elixir on your skin. Of course, you're immune to rays, but the truth is you're really immune. Yeah, you're only regioning. Yeah, you're regioning. You're bending molecules fast enough that your sticks go invisible, and then they're resilient, and then you withstand. That is not immunity. You still die. Yeah, you still die. That's true. 4 hours later, look at Pi lying to them. Pi, you said when you matched, you cry, but yeah, their elixir saved. Yeah, that's correct. Pi beam it straight from the Cobra. Yeah, Pi run it that way too. And it hurts a lot, woman. Yeah, Pi not tell you. Every time you're fighting those type of prisoners, Pi, you saw what he said. You, Pi, how can you hate us? And Pi wrote, had you been a decent grandpa and waited for your demons to do the work, and then we reward the demon, and then you stay with the demon, then I would have let you live. That's true. Never steal your way into my space country. Then me kill you and me murder you. That's true. Massacre you. That's true. The funny thing is, Pi, 2083, Allah laughed so hard. He says, Pi, he said, E-Rain was the biggest monster. Yeah, E-Rain is the biggest monster. Yeah, that's correct. When you went into the E-Rain space stations, that them stuff from your Asian ancestry of gods, Pi, about 60 trillion. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then you distribute it to the knights and the demons. Yep, the holy demons, and then them guard and watch those junkyards too. But works 100% do. And then they put over whoever who has ID there normal. Yes, doing to dwell, make more normal. Paisan, you didn't die, but 9 hours of you talking like that, and you knew that is Tibetan. Tibetan. Yeah, Yoka. I told Tibet hit Indochina, and you. That's true. And light-skinned woman who's imitating the old gods, gold pitch accurate. Pi not like it all the time. That's true. And then Pi went back to light pitch and tone. It was there, Pi. They do that to remind themselves that that is their new wife. Pi accurate. It is the most evil, Pi, because he and you are originally dark tan, golden brown. That's true. In 2 hours, you hated the fucking fact, Pi, that him and you knew the truth. You've been mod, so you fit, Pi, but never tell them it was Balinese MLA, the perfect and Hmong. Yeah, the three perfect originally dragon designed DNA. That's correct. Indonesian is only an emulator, and then it is lying, and then it knows, but play along, pi, that's true. It is as gruesome as Permies, dark tan gods, and later on, pi, it was 4 hours of her laughing, but hers in the gold, the gold pitch and tone, so it's okay. And pi not dare tell you, pi is the most hated Hmong god, and pi using you withstand, but liars are you, pi. And then you check your sun, pi, your sun's dex lasts 400 days, pi, that's true. Your unhealthy spinal cord DNA only lasts 80 to 90 days, accurate. And then you match every 18 minutes, that's true. Pi, your sun match every 5 minutes, even better, yes, do.
Yep. And then by not tell him why, by not dare do that. Pie's not that type of guy.
Accurate.
Yep. Pie's afraid of that type of lecture because it eats it into your skin.
Accurate.
Everybody, you survived. Your son was 9 years to an older generation.
That's probably true.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yep. And that's the grandpa that knows that he likes the electricity.
Accurate.
Everybody used to, you're so evil, Chinese, so how the fuck did you fight 5 sided stars? 5 sided stars an old god, he's embarrassed, and so him not reasoning him dies after 8 months fair.
Accurate.
The other are reasoning like crazy nuts, but yeah, powerful.
Yeah, powerful.
And by usually, did you see what happened? 14 minutes is all that you replenished and you're not it.
Accurate.
By his puzzle, those are Egyptian immune chips. By his immune chip only lasts a few days.
Accurate.
That thing lasted 2 to 3 to 9 million years. Insane.
Insane. Accurate.
If I used to, when you kept some of them in prison, you extracted the chip you matched.
100% do realize pi, you match, but you hate yourself because you know the truth. You match only 6 million years. You have 6 million years. That's true. That's true. Any more than that, you'll see the barcode from Egypt hit pi to that. That's true. That's true. And pi, you saying, see, you're smart, pi. You're always out of there within a few days. That's true. That's true. Because all the superchargers are theft from Egyptian technology. That's true. That's true. And pi, you saying, when you're there, 4 hours of you lying to your human gods, and then you use it. You got it 12 of those evil gods, pi, 100% with you. And be careful, pi. Later on, you'll run into the nation that crushed his left hand, and then he made fun of you, and then you checked, and then you knew it was that one, and then that one saved you, pi, 100% with you. And later on, pi, you check, and your son probably bred into his nation, pi, that's true. Because they keep saying your name, you watch your left hand, and it melts too, and then you're thrilled, pi. Hurts a lot, yeah, it hurts a lot. I told the Quagga, and then later on you knew it. Probably your son, yeah, your white Hebrew son bred into they are New Zealand, yeah, New Zealand, yeah. And it is 20 hours of you crying, pi, on the internet, and you told your son, I can't believe it, yeah, he did that to my arm too. And then pi, Goshasu, the end, pi, was when you gutted the grandpa, and then the children are allowed to begin anew, and heirs status clear. Yeah, that's 100% law. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yep. And then their status has been cleared. Very, very.
Yeah, very, very normal.
Liars are you, pi. Yeah, as soon as you said that, dragon beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, 100% with you.
And then he said, Paisha, how can we live if there's nothing to you can then?
Yeah, y'all could.
Them are only submerged in a tank of oxygen that you create. Of course, don't die.
That's true, pi. 4 hours. He says, Paisan was the most evil, pi was the most fair. Liars are them. And then Paisan eventually, the other white god didn't see, they pasted his anal intestine onto metal and decrypted him. And then right there, yep, Egyptian done that to them. And right there, yeah, them dies. And right there, pi, they stripped the nervous system. Yeah, that's true. And look at that, pi. It was 14 hours and it dies. Pi, that's true. And that's why pi didn't tell you. Pi's afraid. Yeah, pi used a different spinal cord DNA to be immune to that kind of attack. To that's true. Have you ever seen pi not run from dragon, not beam from dragon? Right there, pi knew those are the enemy dragon symbols. And very graphic. Yeah. But there's understanding and agreement as common sense, Yoku, because them cannot beat you or beat the white god, them not dare. And then your grandma arrives on time, pi, the grandma, yeah, Royal Hogs, 300,000 series years to 2025 year today, yeah. The royalty arrives and then you're immune, pi, that's true, yeah.
and then you was allowed to begin and rebuild.
That's correct.
The liar is you, Pi, because you also have payments in the 400,000.
That's correct.
But if you run on empty, you run on loans like that, very graphic.
Yeah, very graphic.
It was 4 hours of you screaming, and your intestine felt melting.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Your 70 space station, Pi, you halted.
Yeah, Pi halted. Yeah, 70 space station building with their technology and Cobras. You halted because one of their Cobra kept cursing Pi's intestine DNA. That's true. Pi not there anymore. That's true. The sun in the night was able to do near a few million Pi.
Yeah, near 4.
Yeah, 4 million. And then they're healthy.
Yeah, they're healthy.
And that is metal technology. But every time Pi do that, Pi hate Pi self. Yalka. Because that is the grandmother's people. Yalka. But after the conversions from your 300,000, the new symbols you're able to.
Yeah, able to. And then right there, Pi continue again. And right there, you run into the same problem after 8 billion.
Yeah, 8 billion new space countries. That's true.
And then you halted, you wait for Grandma Hog to allow the sticks,
Yeah, Yalka.
the dragon courts, the Cobra courts to allow you to permit you to build again. And Black Empire was 14 hours of fucking talks.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the sticks and atoms, the mana, is sealed naturally.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's been Cobra, culture and Dragon Ball. And Python from the beginning, the best fight scene was 2 hours of your son not able to build. He says, nope, Grandma jammed.
Grandma jammed it normal.
We have to visit Pi, and then we have to visit Grandma Royal Hawk.
Yeah, normal.
It was 9 hours of Pi crying because Grandma says, no, your son's a liar. He has made 12 trillion more. He has made 12 billion more somewhere, and he has stacked 8 souls. And then Pi nodded fair, and then he is not allowed to build anymore.
Normal, 100% is the realize doing that. That's correct.
He has one of your white sons.
That's fine. Normal. Yeah, good.
And then Pi wrote, white son, my Vang son, you need to talk to your Knight brothers.
Yeah,
your Vang brothers. They build and distribute accordingly.
Yeah, normal. Always is do what Knights do.
Yep, they are infinity.
Yeah, the metal Knights are infinity. That's true.
Yep. And then they wrote, how come you're so evil? Chinese says, because that all came out from your spinal cord DNA.
Yeah, your eyeball lecture. That's true. The tiny sticks and atoms and circles. The Pi. The other ones, yeah. The idiot lied to you, came right back down and waited.
He says, there's no point, because Pi will not build for you, Pi will kill you.
That's true.
And then Paisan, your holy ram demon is summoned right there, St. Paul City. It appears, and then right there, 2031, 32, 33, 34, boom, it fights that evil female ghost spirit there, and you're free from the devices. 100% is what I do. Those are the same evil spirits. Pi Rob and them are the ones that were booting up those stupid bootleg Russians.
Yeah, those humans. And Pi, right there, you won.
Yeah, you won, Pi. Right there, 4 hours, you boot back into your healthy Netherlands spirits, and then right there, you boot right back out. And then 9 hours are you cutting open the lamb.
Pi, yeah, 100% normal. Nice video.
Best fight scene, he says, how come, Pi, you didn't tell your Hmong people that you do that? Because
you need to act with.
And be careful, Pi. Afterwards, when it dies, you gain it, but it is not healthy. So it is very rapid. And then the portal guys are easily defeated. Yep, every 2 years it dies when we found in the rendering. Yep, on Earth. Yep, it dies every 2 hours. The truth is you and the render it's like 4 hours time.
Act with.
But then 12 hours it dies. But slow molecule chemical has about 2 years.
Act with.
But that's infinity.
Act with. That's in case normal is it. Pi, you won, Pi.
Fight, and then you'll find by. I was and you similar to.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. 100% true. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Watching too.
By Game Boy, I was in my inner game.
Act with.